Guys, Yulia here. So I got something very exciting from Vego Garden. This is their elevated garden bed, and I absolutely love it. I love the design. I love the functionality of it, the size. Unfortunately, I cannot keep it in my garden because I am completely out of room. I am reworking a lot of the areas of my garden, so I don't have the space for it right now. I would love to have one in the future, but for now, this elevated garden bed is going somewhere else, and I found the perfect space for it. So there's a project that I was working on earlier this spring where we finished a backyard for a family, and they actually just had another baby. And mom really loves to garden, but I can understand how difficult it can be to garden with two little kids and a newborn, and I'm sure she will appreciate some waist level gardening right now. You can see I pre-assembled this elevated garden bed already, and it was pretty straightforward. When it came in the mail, I opened the box, there were instructions, and all of the pieces and the nuts and bolts were clearly labeled. If you are confused, you can watch a video. There's a video online with a step-by-step process on how to put it together. You can put this together by yourself, but honestly, having two people in the beginning while you're putting together the frame is very helpful. So today what I'm going to do is finish putting this elevated garden bed together. I have to put the bottoms in here and install the shelves. And then we are going to take this to my client's backyard, plant it up, and see how it looks. So as I'm putting this together, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about this Vego elevated garden bed. Well, first you notice these trapezoidal shape bottom pieces, which makes it a lot stronger than the flat bottom beds. And I love the height. It's 32 inches tall, so no more crouching. It works great for people with limited mobility. And honestly, the older I get, the more I appreciate elevated gardening. However, if you do have mobility issues, you will need help with assembly. As you can see, I am bending over a lot as I'm putting this together. Also, speaking of size, I love the length of it. It's a 6 foot long. They do have even a longer one at 8 feet long and a shorter one at 4. But this one was perfect, as you will see later in the video. And with only 12 inches of planting depth, you save on soil and still have plenty of space for herbs, leafy greens, and other vegetables. And the material is actually galvanized steel with triple coating. If you want to get really sciencey, it's zinc, magnesium, and aluminum, plus USDA certified paint, which makes it safe for your veggies and your family, but also incredibly long lasting. Bonus, there's a storage shelf underneath, which makes it super practical if you want to store some tools or soil bags. And it's also great to know that this bed is expected to last for over 20 years. I think that's so important because a lot of the products right now are built with so-called planned obsolescence, which means that they are intentionally made to have a limited useful life, so you'll need to replace it sooner. But it's not the case with Vego garden products. They're definitely built to last. And speaking of strength, this bed can support up to 1,400 pounds, which is obviously super important as you put soil, plants, and water everything. So here I decided to try it out by climbing in it and taking Mishka with me. He's a 60-pound dog, but he was very comfortable in this elevated garden bed. And I'm obviously not 1,400 pounds, but I am not small, but I still felt pretty safe sitting in this elevated garden bed. So if you want to check it out, I will put a link in the description down below, and you can use the discount codes provided here on screen. I will also put them in the description down below. All right, you guys, so the elevated garden bed has been moved into its new home. It will have a really nice sunny spot for it right under that window. So what I'm going to do next is position it just right, Thankfully it has casters, and then I'm going to plant it up and I will show you everything. As you can see, it is so easy to wheel around thanks to the casters, but don't forget to place them on break when you find the right spot for it on your deck or patio. And here I found a perfect sunny spot for it under this window. And when I saw this elevated garden bed actually on Vego's website, I immediately thought it would be perfect under that window. The size fit just so great. Here I'm using my own potting mix that I made. I mixed 40% compost, 40% peat moss, and as much as I am trying to stay away from peat, in this case I just could not find the substitute for it at the time. So that's what I'm using, and the rest I added some perlite to improve drainage and some sand. I love adding coarse sand to everything now. It's been kind of my secret sauce. It makes everything grow better, improves drainage. And the shape and height of this bed actually improves drainage as well and airflow and keeps pests out, because anytime you elevate plants off the ground, it is harder for the critters to get them. And you can always net them as well, and it's easier when you have this elevated garden bed. However, remember, if you're in colder climates, all of the perennial herbs that I'm planting here, like rosemary, you will have to plant it in the ground because there's not enough winter protection if you're in a colder zone. Again, I will put a link to this elevated garden bed in the description down below, and don't forget to use a discount code. Let's do a little tour. I planted different types of strawberries here. I think anytime you elevate strawberries off the ground, that reduces the risk of them being eaten by all sorts of critters. I got this pepper. There's not a lot of things I could find in the nursery right now, but I found this pepper. It's called Tobago. It's not super hot pepper, apparently, but look how beautiful that is. The little peppers hanging down. There's some more strawberries. I think some of them are seascapes that have strawberries, and I think kids totally will appreciate something like this. Another pepper here for a little bit of color. And these tomatoes over here, I am not sure if they will have time to bloom and produce, but this is what the neighbor gave the homeowner. This is what they had. We'll see what happens. And right here, there's rosemary, some rue, and some basil, some more tomatoes. And of course, any vegetable garden should look pretty, so I added some Gara. And anytime you add flowers into your vegetable garden, that increases yield because that brings in pollinators. But you have to make sure that you check that the flowers that you're adding are not poisonous, because they could fall and get eaten by accidentally. So Gara is a great perennial choice, but I usually in my garden I plant either alyssum or nasturtium, calendula, to attract pollinators, increase my yields, and violas sometimes, which are edible. The flowers are edible. But how beautiful does this look? All right, you guys, so this is it as for the setup of this Vego elevated garden bed. I am so pleased with the way it turned out. And the homeowner came out this morning before I planted this up, and she was happy already, even without the plants in it. But I think this bed will bring them years of joy and produce. And thank you so much, Vego Garden, for sending out this elevated garden bed. And thank you so much, you guys, for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.